in liver and muscles. So glycogen is stored in the liver and muscles of our body, and this is highly branched and compact when compared to the starch. So the difference between starch and glycogen: starch is the reserve food material of plants and glycogen is the reserve food material of animals. So that is why glycogen is called as animal starch. So when you compare the starch and glycogen, the glycogen is highly branched and compact than starch. The molecular weight of glycogen, if you see, it is about 1 lakh to 4 lakh Daltons. So as molecular weight is high, glycogen exerts little osmotic pressure and liver cells can store glycogen within a small space. So this glycogen can exert osmotic pressure and liver cells, they can store glycogen within a small space. Now see, this is how the glycogen looks like. Now see, this is you can see the dots. Each dot is one glucose molecule and this is a branch point. At the branch point you will see alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage, and all these glucose molecules are linked by 1,4 glycosidic linkages only at the branches. So this branch point, this branch point, this branch point and this branch point, they are having alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage, and all other glucose molecules are linked by alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So if you see the differences between starch and glycogen, starch here I have written as amylopectin. So it is nothing but starch only, but you can consider this as starch and glycogen, the differences. Okay, if you see the differences between starch and glycogen, so starch, if you see the one terminal glucose unit, about 25 internal glucose units are there. 25 internal glucose units is there in amylopectin, whereas in glycogen only 11 internal glucose units are the maximum. Now exterior branch of starch is composed of 13 to 18 glucose units, and glycogen it is 6 to 7 glucose units, and between the branch points in amylopectin or starch it is 5 to 6 glucose units, and in the glycogen it is 3 to 4 glucose units. Means this indicates that glycogen is more complex compared to starch and it is more compactly arranged. See, this is more compactly arranged. So there are many branches. And each branch starts at every 7 to 8 glucose units. You will find a branch point in glycogen. So since the cleaving enzyme gets attached to the non-reducing end, it can be cleaved easily. So cleaving enzyme, glycogen, that is glycogen phosphorylase. Glycogen phosphorylase or debranching enzyme is the one which can cleave this glycogen and can cause the release of free glucose molecules. Hepatic glycogen is important in maintaining the plasma glucose level, and muscle glycogen acts as local energy reservoir. Another homopolysaccharide is cellulose. So cellulose, the carbohydrate which is present abundantly in the nature, is nothing but cellulose. So cellulose is the carbohydrate which is present abundantly in the nature. You know that the plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. So this is present in the plant food sources. So cellulose is also a homopolymer of glucose. So cellulose is also made up of glucose, but the glucose molecules in the cellulose are linked by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. They are linked by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So the beta 1,4 linkages and the intra-chain hydrogen bonds, they won't allow it form helix. Instead it forms sheets which offer stability and rigidity to the cell wall. So the beta 1,4-glycosidic linkages that are present in the cellulose, it will not allow the cellulose to form helical structure. Instead, it forms sheet-like structure which offers stability and rigidity to the cell wall. That is why this cellulose is mainly present in the cell wall and acts as a cementing substance and gives stability and rigidity to the cell wall. This cellulose cannot be digested by human beings because we lack an enzyme called cellobiase. We lack an enzyme called cellobiase, this enzyme cleaves this glucose molecules of cellulose, that is beta 1,4-glycosidic bond. The beta 1,4-glycosidic bond is cleaved by the enzyme cellobiase. Thus, cellulose cannot be digested by human beings because we lack the enzyme called cellobiase. So thus cellulose is an important source of bulk in the diet. So though it is not digested by human beings, but it is excreted in feces, so it forms bulk to the diet, and you will get, when you eat lot of vegetables and lot of green leafy vegetables in your food, this adds bulk to your food, and you will get the satiety feeling. Means you will get that as though you have eaten lot of food. So though it is not digested by human beings, because it adds fiber content and bulk to the diet, that is why it is very important to be taken in the diet. Herbivores like rabbit and these cow, these animals, they have large cecum. So they harbor bacteria. In the cecum, there is the bacteria are there which can digest this cellulose, and glucose which is released by these bacteria is released into the cecum and they absorb the glucose. So certain herbivores, they can digest this cellulose because they have some bacteria which can break the beta 1,4-glycosidic bond. So large herbivores which are having this large cecum can utilize it is called as fructosan, because this inulin is a polymer which is made up of repeating units of glucose. So glucose is the homopolymer unit present in the inulin. So since it is made up of fructose, it is called as fructosan. All the fructose molecules in the inulin are linked by beta 1,2-glycosidic bond. So the fructose molecules in the inulin are linked by beta 1,2-glycosidic bonds. Sources of inulin, if you see, tubers and roots of dahlia plant and dandelions and bulbs of onion and garlic. Onion and garlic, they are also mainly made up of inulin. So they consist of inulin, means these are all the repeating units of fructose. So inulin is used as a marker for glomerular filtration rate, GFR. GFR means glomerular filtration rate. So inulin is used as a marker for glomerular filtration rate estimation. Since it is not synthesized, metabolized, but completely filtered by glomerulus, this inulin is used as a marker for the glomerular filtration rate. So inulin is used as a test for the estimation of glomerular filtration rate. So this inulin is also used for estimation of body water volume. Body water volume, that is extracellular fluid volume. Another example for homopolysaccharide is chitin. This chitin is found in the crustaceans, lobsters, crabs, shrimps, insects, mushrooms and fungus. So you can see here the chitin is made up of glucosamine. So this glucosamine is made up of N-acetyl glucosamine. So the repeating units of chitin are made up of N-acetyl glucosamine. So chitin is also a homopolysaccharide seen in the external skeleton of the crustaceans, lobsters, crabs, shrimps, insects, mushrooms, and the other fungus. So chitin is another example for homopolysaccharide. Then dextrans and agar. Agar, sometimes they say it is a homopolysaccharide, or sometimes they say heteropolysaccharide. Actually, if the agar is made up of polysaccharide, is called as agar is called as homopolysaccharide when it is made up of exclusively sulfated glucose units. So sulfated glucose units are there, then it can be a homopolymer of sulfated glucose molecules. Then agar is a example for homopolysaccharide. So this agar, we use it in the bacterial culture in the microbiology, and we also use it as a supporting medium in gel electrophoresis. So this agar can also be used as laxative for the treatment, and microbiology, we, as I said, we